I was trying to see what else I can do into the music scene. So like I said, I was renting in music. I was having people rent music equipment from me, trying to send out like cards, whatever to do, like weddings, banquet parties, whatever I could do. So DJing the clubs was actually one of the last things on my mind.
All right. So I guess what happens with that? When does it next evolve in your life? So you've got the side business. What else is happening?
Then whatever, I'm just DJing. I'm going here, doing events in Toronto as well. I was actually doing after-hour events in Toronto. I actually did one of the Pride parades in Toronto. I actually did one of the big events. I think that's from there. I think that's when I started to get much more exposure. I did the Pride parade event, the after-hour, and one of the person who was there, he's a promoter. He knew my cousin and my cousin's friend, so he actually put me on because I was living in Toronto. I forgot to tell you that there was a time I was living in Toronto for 10 years.
What the
for 10 years. I was living in Toronto
a big
for 10
gap.
years.
Why'd you live in Toronto?
10 years. Nobody knew that. Only the close family and friends would know I was in Toronto. I will actually keep my 514 number, and people will call me thinking I'm in Montreal, but not knowing I'm in Toronto. So I was in Toronto for a good 10 years.
That's like, okay, why? I mean, that's wow. Nobody said anything like that to me ever before.
Yeah, because I left the Jewish General Hospital, and I was working at Toronto General Hospital. So while I was working there in Toronto, I was actually my cousin who was doing the security at one of the bars in Toronto. He actually brought me in to do an event with another DJ, and that's when I started to grow. From there, that's when I started to grow. They heard the style of music I was playing. They asked me if I could come every Saturday. Then from every Saturday, they were asking me if I could come every Friday and Saturday. And that's when I started getting into the house music, matter of fact. That's when I started DJing back into the house music. Because the style of music that they were more into was more progressive house music, techno, all this kind of stuff. And the thing about house music and techno, this is my opinion. I'm sure other DJs, they have their different opinion. But me, if you could mix house music as a DJ, I think you could mix any kind of music. Hip hop, reggae, rock and roll. I'm telling you, the thing about the house music, if you know how to mix that out and you just could hear the different kind of sounds and the beats, whatever, you absolutely could mix it to any other kind of music or any kind of style.
But why do you say that? That's an interesting thing.
Like I said, everybody has their opinion, but the thing with house music is I think house music is one of the musics where it's much more harder to mix compared to any other musics. And the different kind of sounds and beats that you get, you have to really open up your ears and listen to the different kind of sounds and mixes from house music compared to other music that goes around. And if you could listen to that and mix house music, then compared to other kind of music, it should be no problem at all.
Okay.
So that's exactly where me mixing to the house music and getting into the flow DJ in the house music kind of helped me better when it comes to mixing other kind of music like hip hop or whatever.
Okay.
So now I'm deep now DJing in Toronto. Then I leave Toronto, come back
Hold up. Shout out Jamal Hussein, who subscribed with the primes, and that's big love. Appreciate that heavy.
Jamal. Black Temple family.
And for all y'all, March 24th, I believe it is, Jamal Hussein will be on the other side of me over here having a conversation. So you all can look forward to that.
No, I'm going to definitely watch that for sure. Big up Jamal, man.
Straight up. So yeah, back to it. You're heavy in the scene in Toronto.
No, I'm heavy in the scene in Toronto. I'm heavy in the scene.
What's it like in Toronto? Like, is the scene like a more organized thing? How is it different than, say, like the scene in Montreal?
Well, I can tell you straightforward. Majority of the DJs in Toronto are from Montreal. Okay. And if you know the DJ scene, the best DJs around the world, I don't even care what anybody says, it's a fact. The best DJs around the world come from Montreal, Quebec. We have so much talented DJs in Montreal, Quebec, because Montreal is so small and so compact. It's like we have to move out to different cities to get much more exposure because there's so much talented DJs in Montreal. So majority of the big name DJs in Toronto are from Montreal. We just moved there to get much more exposure.
Okay.
So,
That makes a lot of sense.
but the scene in Toronto.
So why doesn't the Toronto scene cultivate the best? Not to throw shade, but why is it that Montreal scene is more like profound than other places? Like, what is it about Montreal scene?
We have so much underground scenes in Montreal. It's unbelievable. You know, we're very multicultural. Montreal's a very multicultural city, and we listen and we have different kind of music and styles. And that's one thing you gotta love about Montreal, Quebec, is the culture and the history that makes it such a beautiful place. And I'm telling you, man, just the talent that we have. Even like I said, that's one of the reasons why I did the DJ Bashment Booth show. That's one of the reasons.
That's a fascinating comment we just got from Don Smooth. The DJs control the scene in Toronto. The promoters control Montreal.
That's true too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's one of the things. The promoters do control Montreal, and we have the good ones and we have the bad ones as well. The promoters in Toronto, they're just very organized and do whatever they could do to make exposure and make a business. And that's the thing with Montreal lacks in the promoters. They get too greedy when it comes to money. They don't think about exposure and helping others as well.
I love it.
Way too greedy. Don Smooth, he's 100% right. It's the promoters is the problem.
Okay, Montreal's Canada Party capital is another fair comment from Don Smooth. That makes sense how we would end up with a lot of DJs. Celebrities partying here all the time.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to Toronto one time, and I've only been to Toronto 2 times. So of the 1 times, we were like, me and my boy were like, yo, shut up, blessings, 1973 for the follow. Me and my boy were like, let's go bar hopping, because I come from Montreal. Bar hopping is like 18 bars on a block in one night type shit. Yo, man, I didn't know you need a car to go bar hopping in Toronto. That was a big discovery. And we felt fucking dumb. Wasted half the night walking. Like, where the fuck is the next place? You know, like, it's a whole different vibe. It's get funny now. You mentioned
that, man, because even living in Toronto and coming from Montreal, I had to adapt it to that. Because, like I said, in Montreal, doesn't matter what time it is. We're used to going out of Montreal. It doesn't matter what time it is. We could still get what we want to get.
Facts.
You can't do that in Toronto. In Toronto, we probably don't need to take a taxi to go to one place to the other side. And who knows, man? That's like probably a good hour or something. You'd be lucky if you hit traffic or not, right?
Yo, all I know is Toronto is very big. And okay, so like you gotta understand. I looked at the Google Maps, and you know like how you know how big a block is in Montreal. You look at the Google Maps and you know. I didn't know that it wasn't the same in Toronto, and that block is like 6 times as big as the block is in Montreal.
Big. There's a big city, you know, a big business area. Like I said, if you want to get exposure, Toronto is actually one of the places, and I thank Toronto too. Montreal is my love, my heart, my home, but Toronto, I have to thank Toronto because Toronto is the one that actually helped me get much more exposure. And I brought the exposure from Toronto. I brought it back to Montreal. And I never left after that.
So what do you mean by how did the exposure happen? Describe the exposure. Was it just the Pride Parade or was it just more in general? Like what is it that's different about it?
Toronto, one thing about Toronto, they do, it's not like, Montreal is like almost like an everyday, 7 days a week. It's not like that in Toronto. In Toronto, everybody's just can't wait for the weekend to come so they could party. Montreal, we could party Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. It's just finding a place where to have a good time. It's not like that in Toronto. So Toronto basically has events maybe every weekend or maybe every 2 times a week. Who knows? But the thing is with Toronto's events, they're very organized and they make it such a big thing that when you do one event, who knows how much you're going to be walking out with, right? But it's a very big event. They're very organized, and like I said, the promoters in Toronto, they know how to get things taken care of.